But let's start the show, right? Because we have a special guest this evening, Rick, also known as Vechel Fantasy and a lot of other titles that he will be discussing in a minute, or probably more than a minute, because I'm going to rattle on for a bit, because that's the way we do it here. But I'm very proud to have you on our show, Rick. It's been a long time coming, I think, and I really like all the stuff that you're doing, and I like our contact. We have spoken to each other a couple of times for more than one project, so to say. Welcome to our show. Oh, no, we can't hear you anymore.
No. Oh, there's no sound now. Okay.
No sound.
What is this sorcery?
Yeah, there it is.
Go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay then. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
Now with volume.
Now with volume. Yeah. And then we have our other very special guest. He's the dungeon master from the Precipice of Dreams. He's a dear friend. I know him because he lives around the corner. He's a magnificent man. If you see him walking down the streets, you stop walking for a couple of seconds just to say, "Whoa, who's going there?" And then you say to yourself, "Well, he made my day just by being in my near presence." And it is Roger. There he is.
Hello. Here I am again.
Roger,
it's been a while. I like being loud.
Yeah. Oh man, this is off to a great start. But Roger felt a bit neglected, so I thought I would hype him a bit. But of course, Rick is our very special guest. He is in the middle, so we can sandwich him in a way and make it really cozy during this evening's show. And we'll be discussing all things Dungeons and Dragons. Our main topic for this evening will be what's your best or worst puzzle you've ever experienced in a role-playing game or something like that. It's about puzzles anyway, and I already saw chat sighing, so that's cool.
But the people that are watching the show, they chose this subject, right?
Yeah.
So you can't sigh. You did this to us.
Yeah.
I think there was
surprised if it was in reaction on our Gary Con episode. Who was it though? Who should we shame?
Asner. We should shame Asner. Shame.
Thanks, Asner.
Shame. Oh no, they very much did this to themselves. Okay, there you go. Let's have a lot of fun this evening. We've got socials. They can be found under !socials. Please follow us at least on our, on every social actually. But it would be cool if you hit that like button on Twitch and on YouTube. That would be very cool of you. Then we also have a lot of shows. Namely, we have the Precipice of Dreams next Monday at 9:30 Central European Time. PM, that is. And then the day after, it's another Jasper's Laboratory, where we'll be doing a party versus party preparation. Because how will you balance another party versus a party? What are some rules that you could consider? That's the next topic on Jasper's Laboratory. The week after that, on Monday at 9:30, we'll have another parallel projections where Michel will probably finish the playthrough of Portal, which he loves because it's a puzzle game. On that topic, let's start our introduction to Talking Void, because we are now 7 minutes in, which might be a record in fastest introduction yet, which you would not... With technical difficulties, I think it's because we're a lot less philosophical this time and are talking about technique, and that is always more boring than philosophical stuff. But anyway, let's go to the introduction of Talking Void and have a lot of fun this evening. And I will stop talking now. No, I won't. Yes, I will. And we are back.
Yay.
So,
Hello there.
Rick, that's what I always
Rick.
do, you know. It's a Dutch name. It might be in English. Well, you can say Jasper as well. But anyway, or Roger, but it's Roger, and it's Rick, and it's Jasper. But I always, when I start talking English, I make it Rick or something like that, and it doesn't even sound
Richard.
like or Richard. Do you want to be called Richard for the rest of the
No,
show? I can.
For the love of God, no.
Okay. Hey, Rick.
Hello there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's a good night, having fun. So it's already a blast. I just came out of my own stream, so the other party members are still playing in the room next to me. So if you hear some noise out there, that's because of them. Lovely bunch, but different storyline.
Yeah. So you decided that there would not be a Wonders show this evening, or not in the normal context, and that you would that would give you a chance to come onto our show, which, as I said, has been a long time coming, I think. But then there is still your show as well, which is pretty cool.
Two of my players couldn't make it today, so we've improvised. Okay, let's check out the new stream PC that I got to see how it works. And we just started out 7:30 every Tuesday, and we usually start out with our storyline, but now we start with challenges together with the audience. And the YouTube audience today is very receptive, so they're still doing that. I just phased out to visit over here, but they're still going on YouTube.
Cool. Yeah. So don't visit them.
Yes, you can all watch on YouTube,
Yeah,
no problem.
don't
after
visit
the
them yet.
show, yeah,
After the show, yeah, that's right. Just visit them after the show. No, but it's so cool having someone present here while their own show is running in the background. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inception show within a show.
Show within the show, yeah. If we keep silent for just a bit, which will not happen, by the way, we will be able to hear a totally other adventure in Dutch, probably, because you're doing stuff in Dutch, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Happening in the background. I'm watching it right now, says Michelle. Well, there
Yeah,
you
it's-
Thanks, Michelle.
Well, Rick, you have a lot of different kind of projects running. Can you tell us a bit about how your presence in the D&D community in the Netherlands came to be?
Well, let's see. 2.5 years ago, I started with D&D for kids in libraries to promote reading by storytelling. They had to make books gamified, and most schools will probably think of something that really kills games in that regard. So I thought up a game to use Dungeons and Dragons and children's books to give the kids the role of the hero. I just get the main character, you throw them out. I just say there's a world, there's a problem, you gotta solve it. And that was, I think, my real start and my real comeback within the D&D scene. But one thing that helped most was the D in Dutch episodes, or explain Dungeons & Dragons in Dutch for people that aren't as fluent in English as they would like to be.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the starting point. It's a lot more now, but that was the starting point. D&D for kids and helping more people to get into this great hobby.
Yeah. So, but you were playing Dungeons and Dragons before that, then?
Yeah, since my 13th birthday, around that time. A friend of mine bought it at a convention because he thought it was a Warhammer expansion. He was very dissatisfied with what he brought home. It was a 3rd edition starter kit. So he gave it to his son, and we were there on a Sunday afternoon with a few friends. And then we started out geeking with my first character, Eric the Cleric. Cleric of Moradin. Of course a dwarf, because he had a beard. Yeah, I didn't have beard back then, but it always had something. So then we started out, and during my studies as a social worker for 3-4 years, I totally missed 4th edition, and then I came back when 5th edition was just released into the hobby.
So some of us would say you skipped the right edition.
I hear that a lot, yes.
Yeah.
It's a thing that we don't talk about, seemingly.
Well, it's Eric. Eric is kind of an advocate for the 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons game.
Is he really, or does he just say those kind of things to piss us off?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's hard.
you never know with him. That's see in chat.
Yeah. We have been blamed by Careful Cantrop for being Danish, so that's a thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's not the first time.
Love it. But there is also a question for Rick in there. So, do you find any differences in the English and North American D&D community and the Dutch community? I would be my guess.
The Danish one I don't know a lot about, so I'll keep it to Dutch. But I also DM for American parties. I'm on a website that rents out my D&D services. So usually I'm up at night playing for a family in Texas, for example, and that's a reoccurring gig. And if it comes to D&D community, gatekeeping is more a thing across the seas than it is over here, at least in my experience. Deciding who can play and who can't play is kind of a thing that I don't really come across here a lot. And if it comes to playstyles, a lot of the ones overseas are more open to 5th edition. 5th edition is more a role-playing part, instead of a 3rd edition where a lot is just done by rolling and playing. So that's quite a big difference, because a lot of the Dutch players that I know, they start in 3rd edition and they're all about the rolls and the combat and everything that they can stat-wise work out. Although the new, at least the Americans I talk to a lot, especially ones influenced by Critical Role, are a lot more into there for the story. So it's an entirely different play style where I need to be a lot more descriptive than I normally have to be here in the Netherlands. And with a bit of the Flemish, but fair.
What did you mean by gatekeeping? Did you encounter more gatekeeping over there?
Yeah, depending on who can join the game, yes or no. I've had games where people play to enter, and they saw someone that they didn't like for, probably just on site. So that's usually a racial reason, and it just went out with a complaint afterwards. So that happens.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't aware that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also the difference. If you go overseas, there's a lot more of that than over here, at least in my experience. Everyone is welcome at my table as long as you're not a dick. That's kind of my only threshold that I have. If you're not a dick, you're welcome at my table. Or some female unfriendly word, just have fun with it. Whatever gender pronoun you want to put on there. But there's still some underbelly that still doesn't want certain people on their table, in their table.
Okay.
Well, you have the experience, so it's new for us. But thanks for adding that. It's
Yeah, that's actually kind of weird.
Well, there was also a topic during the GaryCon that I could visit thanks to you guys. I also checked a lot of accessibility workshops and readings that I could do, and presentations that I can join. And that was about people that had a handicap or came from a certain race or even gender. And it was really a thing. And I was like, is it my European part, like the Eurotrip kind of description of how we are, that it isn't really such a thing here?
No, yeah.
So you're saying that people would get excluded because of skin color and stuff?
Or gender, or a disability, perhaps. That seemed really a thing in these panels.
Wow. That's
my reaction.
That's
exactly
awful. That's but it's good that we're at least that tolerant and known for our tolerance. But
I couldn't really imagine to keep
people are watching from those parts of the world. Don't do that.
For example, my girlfriend plays D&D as well, and I can't really imagine to tell her that no, this is my boys' club. Get the fuck out. I would get my ass kicked. Let's be very honest about that for us up front as well. But I can't even imagine doing so.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
It's interesting that you're saying that, because if anything, in the last couple of years, especially since Critical Roles, the community has become more open in a sense and more inclusive. If you watch how many kind of subgroups, I don't know how to say it, but are now enjoying it. For example, you have the Jokes Machina, which I always liked, which was kind of a whole other kind of exclusion that was happening. But also, of course, LGBTQI ZCB,
Plus.
I don't know,
the
a
rest of the
community,
alphabet,
and well, in a sense, female players as well, because there wasn't really a stigma to it, but there were a lot less female players in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, so to say, than there are now. So I'm hoping that it will be the most inclusive game there can be, because I think that it supports that kind of behavior in the most beautiful sense.
Yeah, and even Wizards took that approach with the upcoming books, for example, how they play up with ancestry and how they're changing, for example, the stereotypes of some races just to have that. I must say I'm a little bit conflicted about that as well personally, but that's also because I just like the story parts but I didn't really imagine that orcs, for example, were modeled after African tribes. I didn't really make that connection, but I can understand that it hurts a little bit. Then again, with all the social justice warrior things going on, it's kind of getting a lot faster and a lot further than I would expect. But then again, that's also something that's overseas more than it's over here, at least in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's a big movement going on there. I think it's less over here just because we don't make it a problem as much, maybe. But
there are a lot of us who don't make it a problem.
I mean, I'm a white male, so I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't want to participate in any negative stereotyping or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to be open.
Yeah, it's a difficult topic, especially for a white male, I think. But on the other hand, I would never reject anything because of any heritage. But there is, and Roger and me and Eric, in a way, are working on our own system. And the thing we did decide on is that we would not call race anymore, but species. Just to make it a bit broader in the sense of communication. And we are doing that a lot for Dungeons and Dragons in our streams as well by now. We almost never talk about race anymore, or we at least don't try to use that word anymore, because I think species is more inclusive. But then there are these things to explore in role-playing games as well, where you talk about conflict between well, sometimes it's male-female conflict. Sometimes it's between wholly different species, so to say. For example, we have a bird person in our party, and we make kind of fun of him, but we are not making fun of him because of he's different as well. Okay, it's getting difficult there.
Dangerous territory.
Yeah.
But you're being racist against everyone.
But it's exploring that topic rather than being a fascist, so to say.
Yeah, but I always find it funny that you can be racist about a game where you can play a purple tiefling. You can play the great-grandson of a demon.
Yeah.
I can't really... then something just... I just can't really imagine that. Of course, racism in D&D is applicable. I've had campaigns where chromatic dragonborns were looked upon with just a general sense of a black dragon. Okay, it's a dragonborn, but still it's a dragon in there. But it's more a roleplay thing and not really something that would get pitchforks and stuff.
If you use it as a story mechanism, doesn't mean you condone that kind of behavior. I mean, you can use it to show how bad that kind of behavior can be and become, and even use it to educate people. And especially in a game like D&D, I mean, because of the role play, people really get invested and internalize their characters. And
also putting that in a session 0 makes it really important to know what the stakes are for choosing that one. If you're playing a tiefling and you're playing a church campaign, for example, there are probably a lot of people that don't really feel comfortable with a horned guy with a tail and yellow eyes and a purple skin tone. I could think that I'd rather just be a little bit, okay, I'm going to sit over there instead of by the altar. But also fun to play with in that regard. But then again, if you play, for example, a game like Vampire Masquerade, but it usually put in the 20s of this of the 20th century, that isn't really a very open society, to say it lightly. So it also depends on what kind of campaign that you're running and how what you want to do.
Yeah. So Ashley says there's a lot of other types of talks happening in chat. I wanted to start with the latest one. From Jimmy Carr. I make the jokes to show just how futile these views are. Laugh at the behavior, and people will eventually see how silly it is. That's I think is a remark to this topic, so to say. I think Michel somewhere says, to me, orcs are corrupted elves as leftover from Tolkien. Yeah, so, that's how they started, in a sense.
I use the Warcraft approach.
Yeah, well, me too. My orcs are more Warcraftian.
Yeah. Just remember, all rules are optional. If people want to use them in my game, cool. If not, meh. How do you guys feel about the changes to racial features in Tasha's? Well, there you have it. You already said something about that, Rick. The heritage thing.
I don't like it because it makes all things a bit bland. With my kids D&D, I use a lot from... I don't use any races there. Just like, how do you want to look? How badass do you want your character to look? And if they have wings, they can't use them to fly, for example. Or put them in a dungeon. Like, you have the ceiling just 2 feet above you. That's gonna hurt. But if it comes to Tasha's, because you can switch out all the traits, it helps a lot with the sense of power gaming and power building tool. And I think that, at least in my experience, does more than it would do for the racial balance or anything in that regard. So I usually don't use them. I skip the entire part in Tasha's, the entire chapter, not using it.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated chapter as well. I know. Well, when society is so polarized as you just summarized, and let's debunk this just a bit, because we have a couple of examples in the community that counts more than 300 million people, but it's more polarized there in a way. Although there's a lot of things happening here as well, of course, and it's good for that conversation, I think, or the point in their history where they are now, where they have to decide on some things, so to say. But well, I think we're getting a bit off topic here, but it's an interesting topic.
And it's a bit deep, but
it's a bit deep.
You skipped the philosophical part. This one.
So
time, right?
we are getting
right
into
back
that
at
now.
it.
Yeah, right back at it. That's so cool. So that's the difference. Careful cantrip. Careful cantrip. Sorry, always do the what's it called? The cantrip.
Intonation.
The clam tone on the wrong part. Nice answer. Nice discussion to follow it up with.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, awesome.
So you started off with playing Dungeons and Dragons with kids in the library. How did it develop after that?
I was taken by storm. Within weeks, I needed help just to make sure that I could give all the children who wanted an adventure. Within a week, I had 2 people helping me out on Saturdays and Fridays just to make sure that I could make every library that wanted to work with it. But usually we have the groups up till 6 for most of my dungeon masters. Myself, I do 8 to 10 in a group. But then again, that's also a bit of more experience, and also within as a social worker, I work a lot of workshop with kids, so I have somewhat more of an experience in that regard. But at this moment, we have 80 kids a week, even with the digital version now during COVID.
Wow.
Nice.
So cool.
What's the age range? You say kids, but
well, for the libraries, I use 8 to 10 because I can the books that are for that reading level, the A and B books. I'm not sure what that internationally would be, by the way, but I'll have to be
from children's books. Yeah,
children's books. But these are easy enough to quickly work into, and also the worlds are still very open, and I can really approach that regard of adventure in my adventures. So I can really easily match the books with the adventure that I'm doing. So 8 to 10 is for the reading promotion. Then we're going from 10 to 12 is for a bit of writing and creative storytelling. And whenever they get 12 and a bit, I'll just put on the starter set on the table and say, okay, enough with the kiddie game.
now it's time for the real.
Yeah, the corruption has started now. Let's do this. Geek up. And that usually works very well.
Yeah, very cool. That's.
So I changed my screen. I suddenly realized that I didn't change my screen. So my question to you is: so what are you about anyway, Smiley? And you're starting to read it. So then YouTube happened.
Yeah, the in Dutch episodes happened, and that also took flight that I couldn't really imagine. Only introduction was just a blast. And that gave way to a lot of people that were thanking me that there is now a Dutch way to play the game. And it seemingly that there is still, even in the Netherlands, there's some kind of a expectation that you have to play the game in English. Well, you could, like you
Yeah.
guys do every week. Of course you can, but doesn't have to. You can also use Dutch words for a lot of stuff. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
also
we
doing
play
now.
our personal games. We play our personal games in Dutch. Online, we use English when we're going live, but yeah, our private games are just as Dutch as we are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Oh, and
this,
thanks
especially
for
with
the sub, Mauricio,
cool.
Maurico, or Jeff, or whatever you want to be called.
Yeah.
No, but the in Dutch evolved into, if you guys have questions, let me know what kind of chapter or subjects you want me to tackle. And my supporters on Patreon, they get to decide what video comes first. And at least once a month, there's a D in Dutch video coming up. So
Yeah,
at
that's
least at the
cool.
current stage.
Good evening, Cesaro. Welcome to the stream.
Hello there. Oh,
Hey,
Yeah, I think it's really great
thank you for
because
visiting.
I think we talked about this, and I think when Michel was on your show, he talked about this as
Oh, yeah.
well.
The D in dialogue.
You know, there are a lot of Dutch kids who speak English at quite an early age, or start to learning English at an early age. But once you get fluent, that comes later, so to say. And even if there are a lot of kids in the Netherlands that can do that, there are far more kids who can't
Yeah,
read
exactly.
English or make heads or tails from it. And I think I could read English at an early age, but I think I was really lucky because I got the Dutch Dungeons and Dragons red box, which got me into
There was a
Dungeons and
Dutch
Dragons.
version?
Yeah, there was a Dutch version.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
Why did they stop doing that? Was that a Wizard of the Coast decision instead of the Gygax version, or?
I think it was. I don't know. I have to. I never looked at that product in that way because I was a child back then. I was 11
Fair.
years old, but I still have it, so I could look it up. Not right now because I have to leave the computer for a while. But yeah. You know, it had the very short player's handbook, very short dungeon master guide. Dungeon Master Guide, I think. No, there was an additional monster manual, Monsters Handbook, or something like that. And then there were two or three modules, like a green, brown, and blue booklet in there that had an adventure in them, which I
Awesome.
never used, by the way. I immediately started doing my own adventures, but that's how I got into that game. And I think it's really cool that you're doing it. Giving these rules, talking about these rules in Dutch to make it accessible to a larger community.
I just want more geeks. That's kind of my goal. So
Yeah,
more people play this game. This game brings so much to the table. If it comes to just hanging out with friends, it's a very fun thing to do. You can also play Risk or Monopoly, but usually families get torn by those games, so you can easily do this and chase the dragon together.
yeah,
But also comes, for example, reading brings empathy. D&D also works on that. Not as good as a book does, but it also works on a part of empathy and collaboration. And I think those skills can be beneficial to everyone. And it's a fun thing to get these things subconsciously driven in.
yeah.
But also, for example, if I do instructional groups, for example, a family that wants to learn to play, I always play around these subjects just to make sure that they also experience the game this way, not just as another hack and slash RPG. And then you just get the new God of War, you also be happy. But
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
other experience, still fun, but something completely different.
Yeah. So you an example of a starter adventure that you would be running, what would be the subject of that then?
Well, one of the most important things that I also want to really put in the first sessions is you're going on an adventure together and you want to make it home back safe together. That's the most important part. Be there for each other. You're a group. Get your lone ass edgy rogue out of here. That's the most important part that I usually give.
That's how you say
any
it to the
starting groups.
kids?
Yeah.
Cool.
There's always some that says, "Oh, I want to escape," or "I'm gonna push him into danger and run off." Yeah, that's the one that doesn't get the treasure to the end. Because one of the main rules, also with the Dutch children's books that I wrote, it's you're going out together, you come back together. Do you take care of each other? That's the most important thing. You bond.
Cooperative game, yeah.
Yeah, if for example, if we use for adults, I had one introduction game last week, and I used the 3rd edition starter kit that has a few adventures that are really hack and slash oriented. But the first adventure is that 4 goblins seem to have captured the unicorn. Challenge rating wise, no clue how that happened. No way in hell. But that's a really fun adventure because the group comes to the town, the city doctor is missing, they find out it's a horse with a horn on his head, they venture to the woods, find some bandit goblins, and rescue the unicorn. And that's a really basic, small adventure with a really clear goal. But how do they approach these things? How are they gonna talk to the innkeeper? How are they gonna find the tracks? Or even if one group didn't find out that the town doctor was a unicorn until they really found the unicorn strapped in the cave. It's like, we're still looking for the doctor. And one of the kids said, "Don't unicorns heal?"
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
the best, yeah, that's awesome. And then they just, okay, it's unconscious. Okay, we'll drag the horse back. I don't know if you know how heavy a horse is.
Or
Have
how
fun.
much it hurts the horse to drag it along.
Yeah, especially if you take it by the horn and just pull on it. That's gonna hurt. But then again, whatever course if they go in together and come out together and help each other, it's all good. Any plot armor that I would give will come if you want to rescue somebody else. It's the only time you get plot armor. At least for these games. The Wanderers have a very different approach. They never get plot armor. Never.
Cool. Well, that makes a great segue into to the next part, where I will show. Well, let's first do the next slide. I will show on screen now your avonturenhandboek or adventure handbook. You were.
I don't have any.
You don't have
I feel
any?
left out. Ignore me. Yeah.
We are going to ignore Roger from now on. Because he asked for that.
I have a mug.
So this is your product. You sent me in one volume. Was really cool to receive it. I have to say, but
Glad you like it.
I really had it in hand for about 5 minutes, and then my son took it. My son is 10 years old, so I think he fits the demographic. Yeah. And of course, I already I looked through it and I really liked what I saw. So there's all these. Can I show this? I like the fact that it has like these kinds of classical rules pages, like you would expect from a
guide,
from Dungeons and Dragons book, so to say. And then it has these very cool.
The arts and crafts
do-it-yourself parts to it.
Oh, cool!
And
then you have an adventure, the purple, the brown parts of the game.
Yeah, so like these kinds of quite simple maps that speak to the imagination anyway. It's cool how you shaped the book. How you. I also like the names of the characters you can play, especially the. What was it?
Is it Eric the Cleric or?
Oh, there's a cleric.
The Olijkert.
The Olijkert, yeah, the rogue.
The rogue.
If you want to look for, some things were pretty hard to translate. A rogue in Dutch usually is a bad thing. You really come across thieves, or bandits.
Is the literal translation.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah.
so I was looking around for synonyms and such, and I came towards the Olekert, and that's a bit more clownish, kind of treasure seeker. That's kind of what it is. Some old Dutch word. It's like awesome using this one. And also, also in Dutch, I also put in episode number 3 where I put down the clauses and also the Dutch translations, and I actually just kept the name Olekert.
Yeah. I liked the name, and because I imagined that you did it for such a reason, and I think I've heard the word before, or I think I googled the translation of Rogue once and came to that word, and I thought at the moment, who would ever use it? Well, you do, and it fits, so that's cool.
Yeah, The fun part is that book came around. The idea for the book came in October, because then some national newspaper got wind of what I was doing in an interview. And my mailbox exploded. I had 500 mails within a week, asking me to just help out. It was like, I can't handle this kind of questionnaires. This is too much. So I just started writing the book, put on a crowdfunding campaign just for the end of the year, and within 2 weeks, smashed through the budget that I needed. So starting January, just after my son was born, I got to writing. Easy if you just have to do diapers. You're awake anyhow, so start typing. And very, especially with the COVID pandemic at the moment, I really chose these 3 parts of the book. One part was just the rules, and that's a maximum of 20 pages, including the extra rules that you don't have to use. Then you have about 40 or 50 pages with the arts and crafts. For example, creating your own maps, or use a milk cart to make your own dice tower, or just terrain pieces, or whatever. This is my let's put it
Box of crafts.
This is more like the field experiments of my own to try out if it worked.
So you followed your own guidelines and you failed? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. There's also
That's okay.
That's okay.
There's also the difficulty grade. I know any kid can do this better than me, and that's the best part. Just to have the creativity come out, and also in ways that kids are doing less and less nowadays. Because also my thought, especially with the COVID pandemic, was, okay, you have the kids that are hyped up, you got the book, they want to play, but dad has to work till 5 and they have to work at home now, so everything's awful. But then again, you put your kids to work, let them make your maps, let them make your terrain parts. And whenever you're done with working,
actually.
And then
I've been using Eric for that, but use my kids. That's
exactly. And then you just finish up your work, you go to eat, and then because a lot of parents sadly don't read to their kids before bedtime, you do a story before they go to bed. They're off to bed. They had an awesome story. They did some art and crafts, and they had less screen time. Perfect. That was the entire approach about how this book came to be, and why I involved the arts and crafts part.
Yeah.
And I needed so many pages to make a hardcover, and let's be honest, hardcovers are way more awesome. If you have to print a book, you do so hardcover. Yeah. So that was also a thing.
I also like that your cover really spoke to my son as well. He said he was laughing, and I said, "Why are you laughing?" Because this guy is looking at me, and in the background there's a dragon fight. That was really funny.
Yeah, as an illustrator, and let's be very honest about one thing here. I suck at drawing. I can do stick figures to a certain extent, and then it just stops. So when I had to work with the illustrator, I was like, okay, what do you want it to be? I was like, well, I like Final Fantasy, I like Warcraft. The more childish thing has to come around somewhat, not anime kind of thing, but I need something like this. Use Disney for all that I care. Flynn Rider, let's go. Okay, what do I want? I wanted a big bad evil guy. That became the dragon over here. I wanted a few adventurers, and I wanted a cool guy with a beard, because you have to. So then this came around. I was very pleased. And also in the back, there's the big bad evil guy is also on the cover from the book, because the dragon is only a small part of the story inside the book.
Yeah.
That's something that you'll be visiting. But the real bad guy of the story is located somewhere else on the book. And I've also heard already parents and children are like, oh, that was a fun twist. Nobody expected that. Ah, good.
Oh, that's cool.
Just to make sure that the kids are tapping into their creativity once again. Because if you put it on a tablet or a computer game, the sky is blue because you see that it's blue. Easy as that. But if you have to imagine how your forest terrain looks, you have to make this yourself. You have to really imagine it and and just like you do reading a book, you need to imagine, get into the story, and see how far you can go. And I'm very happy with how that turned out because I had a lot of parents just with a lot of fun things. I also, for example, making a dice tower out of a shoebox. I also put a video on that for YouTube for a few kids. Um, and yeah, it's just amazing what kids can do with it. One got his dad to help to make a wooden one with a Darth Vader mask with all LED lights and stuff in it. So if you roll the
Okay.
dice, you had then the red lights coming from the eyes and underneath the mask. It's like, oh, that's so awesome. Instantly jealous, but then again, yeah, this is what I can do. So,
Well, but
it's a healthy kind of jealous.
That can also be enough, especially for kids. You know, you don't have to draw those fancy maps you see in those professionally made books. It's okay if you come up with just a paper with squares on them. That
Yeah.
works just as well.
Every kid can top me, and they like that the best. And that's a great motivational tool. Make it work.
I think that's the thing I'm saying in the first 3 episodes of Jasper's Laboratory, sorry, where I talk about just do it how you want to do it. You know, don't make you don't even have to draw an inn because there is an inn. You don't have to draw a map like they are in the books because that's nonsense. There's a whole team behind that. Just make a map if you want to make a map and make it your way because that's enough. Yeah. So cool. So you're sold out, right?
Half of the first draft of the books were gone within weeks. And tomorrow I have to ship 15 other books to a few shops that got interested recently. And also now, for example, I didn't really do something in the Belgian market, but one store over there is now over 50 copies already. So
Oh,
that's
cool. That's so cool.
that's
Nice.
in Leuven.
Con-
It's only
Leuven.
the only part in Belgium where you can find it. So yeah, that works. So
So for all our Belgian viewers, go to Leuven.
yeah, demospel.
They must,
We have at least one Belgian viewer. I'm not sure if he's in Belgium, but
well, he's Dutch.
yeah, he's Dutch, but he lives in Belgium.
Yeah. So he's okay. Yeah. True.
He defected to Belgium. It's,
Doesn't he want to return though? Anyway.
yeah, he might.
Yeah. We talked about your book. We talked about how you got into Dungeons and Dragons. Do you want to add anything to that story, Rick?
Oh.
Very open
that's-
question.
I'm not, now I just heard my place in the room just shouting like something went horribly wrong. I'm guessing a TPK when I get back.
A TPK while you're not there? That's amazing.
Wonders can do everything.
Well, talk about the wonders then.
Yeah, well, we do have the live streams, for example. Now there are a lot of Dutch live streams. We have the DN Dutch live stream that we're just playing in Dutch. To give an example to people who don't really know the game yet, how you could play. Then we have the Wonders, that's just a group that follows a very loosely Lord of the Rings kind of adventure, thanks to the wizard that had a very suspicious backstory and elven name. And at this moment, I'm working on more one-shots, podcast plays, and other streaming groups to form or join in, just to spread some more stories because that's the fun part. I haven't been a player in quite a while, and although I do think the DM role fits me better than a player, it's always just fun to experience worlds that others create. Especially if you just can put your nose and dive into everything that you like to. Most DMs don't like that. Sorry in that for advance. But we have the DN Dutch part. I am a DM for hire part, and I have the adventure book part. But especially the podcast play will be a very challenging and fun thing that I'm adding in the near future. And that's because most of the time, also with the Wonders, if we have our live viewers, it's not really that much, but within days we reach 100 views on every single one. And there's people that just want to watch it while they're cleaning their house or riding somewhere. I have to make sure that my podcast will get updated very soon because I didn't do the intro yet, so I don't have anything to to lead into just blanging a story on Spotify. So that's going to be fun. Then again, the technical challenges that and maybe also the speed that we had to develop all this kinds of stuff during the pandemic did really help. If you see, for example, tools like Roll20 evolve in the last year, it's awesome. And that also the Roll20 chat and video is just terrible. I'd rather have things like Discord or Microsoft Teams for all those approaches.
Yeah, we're
say,
using like
also
10 different programs to do our shows.
But then again, yours looks magnificent. I also said it to Michael in the D&D Dialogue interview that I had with him. Every time, it just looks amazing. Everything you do looks good. And I was like, I think that I've eventually I'm doing Dutch for my Dutch audience, but that's all I got on that part.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Thanks.
High praise.
So Michel is saying in chat, what are the chances we'll see a guest appearance of Vechel Fantasy in our POD campaign, in our Precipice of Dreams campaign? So that could be a thing in the future. I was just going to ask you if I was could come on your stream to do a Dutch game.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, we really have to do
you could find the Aliburn the Unicorn. That's also a possibility, for example. But depending on any guest appearances, it depends your streaming days, because Monday and Tuesday are not. Tuesdays
Not
usually have
ideal.
my streaming group, so that's hard. But yeah, just because 2 wonders couldn't make it today, I was like, Jasper, I can make it. How's that date? It's still free. Yes, I'm on time. But that was the only the luck that we had over here. But why not? If my English is good enough for you guys, I'm all in.
It's more than enough. Also, where can we find you?
www.vechelfantasy.com. That's the site where everything. Within 2 months, I have a new one because the current one is outdated as hell. But I had to make something because people were asking for it. Like, okay, I'm putting up some page somewhere and just add it to that, and it doesn't have a structure or anything. But the domain will stay the same. I'll put it in chat if you guys want to.
Yeah, but definitely. Just plug yourself all you want. It's okay.
So we're going to talk about the crossover in both ways, I think. That's the thing. Because that's just cool. I would like to do... I'm not saying that I'm going to be the one that's going to play with you, although I want to, but let's give the others a chance as well.
I think you kind of claimed it, but we'll see.
No.
Or just DM switch, see what happens.
We'll fight it out behind screens.
DM switch. Ooh. Can Roger handle that?
Well, I can speak Dutch, so...
no, but Jack? Would you let him or
no,
run your
probably
adventure?
Not. Well, a lot of
no.
We have 2 of the wonders. One is a native English speaker, and one is an English teacher. So the English is no problem for the wonders. But we just chose the Dutch audience because there wasn't any Dutch D&D thing to watch.
Yeah,
it's kind of just the easiest way out.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for the invite. I think, or did I invite myself? I have no idea.
Yeah, you did.
We're a good press briefing where we say this. We just both found ourselves in that regard.
Yeah, indeed. Let's say it happened that way. I think that concludes our first part of the show, where we talk about you, because you're the most important person on this the most important person on this show right now. Yeah. You can be proud of that. And now we're going to our main topic, and our main topic is
the most hated part of D&D.
Yeah. What is the best or worst puzzle you needed to solve in an adventure? That's the question. And just before the show, I asked Rick how he wanted his food, because I said this show is going to be salty. I can't make anything else of it. There are a couple of examples where people are really getting the puzzle, but most of the people, they have different opinions about puzzles. So let's dive into the main topic with the first 2 answers that we will be getting, which of course in a way make no sense at all or are just a bit funny. Chris says, "Oh, what an ass I am. Those that know, know." Any reactions to that one?
I'm guessing he was the DM and
Yeah, I think so.
gave his players a puzzle.
Or I'm talking to a donkey.
Yeah, it could be as well, yeah. Jasper invites himself to Rick's Cupcake Michel Kwak. Yeah, okay, so cool. And the other one is, Sean says, whatever puzzle I'm actively trying to solve is the worst puzzle.
Yeah, I can fully understand that.
Yeah, so what's up with puzzles? But do we normally like puzzles? That's the question that I have.
I kind of do. Yeah. I like a brain tease every now and then. That makes me feel smart when I solve them.
Yeah, in your own time, right?
Well,
or under pressure.
Yeah, both. It doesn't matter.
You're shaking your head like Matt, Rick, saying, I don't like puzzles at all. Graag gedaan, says Ashley Gibson in Dutch. That's funny.
Nice.
My pleasure as well, Ashley. Why don't you like puzzles, Rick?
I've never liked them. I didn't like Sudokus. I didn't like any puzzles in school. I've hated them from the bottom of my heart as long as I can remember. I just really don't have the patience for most of them, I think. I think that's the most part. Usually I can't solve them or it's actually okay, but I just hate encountering them.
Yeah.
And it's a very deeply felt passion.
Yeah. So, do you like computer games that have puzzle elements in them? Like
Well,
Portal, for example?
Never played Portal.
Okay.
No, if it comes to me, I'm in gaming. I usually played Ragnarok Online, Warcraft 3. Sometimes things like, for example, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and some other games.
That has a lot of puzzles. Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, mostly I had help during those puzzles. I played together with my brother. He's a very good gamer. Also, if I come across, for example, a boss in God of War that I can't beat, I usually call him, say, when do you have some time? Kick this guy's ass and let me advance with the story. And we make that work.
I think for part we have the same thing going on here, because I think we all play our games on easy mode here because we just want to get through the story and really enjoy that part. Right?
Yeah, I just want the story part. I don't care about the puzzles. I don't care how big and evil the enemy can be. I love a challenge. Let there be no mistake about that. But then again, at Dark Souls, you won't find me there. I'll get my ass whooped so many times before even putting on my armor.
Yeah, I can relate to that a bit. Although I do like puzzles, actually. I do like Portal, and I do like a lot of those things. I do like Zelda, for example. Just we now have
we got
Switch, so
sad
I can
then,
finally
because
play
I
them.
like them a lot. He dislikes them, and you are a bit of middle ground. So we have all the
I'm the
bases
middle
covered
ground.
there.
Yeah. So why do you like puzzles then?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's fun, like a brain tease, and I like presenting. I like coming up with them as well, and then presenting them to my players. And mostly, they seem to enjoy it. At least at the end, they feel smart about themselves, and it's still an accomplishment. And when talking about video games, I like the stuff in Zelda-like games. Where you have to move all the blocks in a whole room, and Portal is one of my favorite games ever, and I just like it.
Okay. So Ashley says, the best puzzles I have set are always picking up my 3-year-old's latest toy and then describing it. It takes about 30 minutes for 4 30-something to solve.
Yeah, that's true. I as much as I dislike puzzles, encountering them, I do use them in my D&D games, and especially the kids' things are awesome to use. I once had a door, and they had to. There was an adventure group. There was an ancient temple they wanted to get into, and the trick was that you have to just the door is jammed. You just have to put your foot into it, apply some pressure, and you would be inside. I've had 4 hours of people trying to get into the roof.
Doors are the worst.
Doors
Is there going to be an answer about doors? Because otherwise I'll shut up now and talk then. But
of course there will be an answer about doors.
Okay, so cool.
That can be a entirely separate episode just about doors.
Yeah.
I can
Doors
spoil
and
this.
DB.
We'll end this show on an answer that involves doors.
Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah.
People don't even see if they're locked or not. It's insane.
A door handle, what's that for?
Let's bash it in. Let's check.
We
for
usually
everything.
go around the door, we bash in the wall, and then pass the door that
Well,
way.
you really did that.
We
in,
did that
one
once.
of my
Yeah.
I fully understand that.
There are some other things happening in chat. Ashton says, are there actually games that ease down the puzzles in easy mode? And Ashley says, I believe Tomb Raider later games do this. Ashton says, oh cool, I didn't know.
I think that most games don't have anything because it's very hard to scale a puzzle. Like combat is easy to scale. You put in less hit points, you put in less armor class, but scaling down a puzzle can be hard. And again, if it comes to D&D, maybe also a tip for people playing, I can think of 3 things how to open the door. But then again, sometimes you just have to read the room and see, okay, maybe it's enough, and that's a good idea as well. Just to make sure that the players don't get stomped by it. I have the luck that also in Wonders, I have one player that is amazing with puzzles. Echt, Jesse does that really well. But then again, he did have a fun little activity now during our games. And he'll just look at me as like, I know what it is. And I'll just hang back for the rest of the session. Just to see what the other players are going to do. And only when things go awfully wrong, then I'll step in and solve the puzzle.
Okay.
It's an asshole
A player
move to do,
does
but
that.
Yeah. A
Okay.
player, he sees through almost every puzzle that I do. He's like, Rick, I got it. And he just sends me a text message with, this is it, right? It's like... and then he's okay. And I'll just lay back, see what the others are doing, and just being, I have no clue what's happening. I wouldn't know where to start. And he's already got the solution in his pants. Perfect.
So Ashley says, scale down a puzzle. Take the second answer they come up with, whether it's right or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just as I just said, that's really the best thing to do.
That's what I should have done.
Recklessness and smarty pants. That was the answer to your potion puzzle, right?
Don't bring up the potion puzzle, please.
We'll be bringing it up through this show, Roger. It was a cool
I have
puzzle.
fonder memories of puzzles, though. It's I mean, Maze. The Maze was amazing, right? I mean,
amazing puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that puzzle, but well, there's the thing that I thought my character wouldn't. Well, he didn't even bother trying to solve the puzzle, and so I neglected.
Actually a good one. Do you differentiate between what your character could solve and what you can actually solve in real life? I mean, if you might play a character that's generally kind of dumb, but you yourself are actually kind of smart and instantly get the answer.
Who are you addressing now? Me or?
It doesn't matter either.
Okay.
Or both.
I thought I think that I would have tried to solve it as normal Jasper, but making a bit more fuss about it in a way. But I decided that Bowen would not even try to solve it. So then I just blanked out and didn't even get into the details, because otherwise I was going to participate anyway, so to say.
As a dungeon master, I usually check out what kind of players I have sitting across from me. You have the different play styles. I also put in a dungeon master guide. There are 7 or 8 of them. I usually split them in 3 groups: combat, puzzle exploration, and social role playing. And I have groups that have a few fighter characters, dumb as a door, but at least in game. But out game, they solve every puzzle within seconds. Also, the Paladin of Jesse, before he died, at least that character died, had the same pitfall. And it's usually like, okay, guys, I'm here to give you guys as a group a fun challenge, not to make it worse because you rolled low in your intelligence score. But then again, I also have role-playing groups that despise me if I ever brought that up. So I usually link it up to the players that are sitting across from me. How do they get the most out of their session? And that can be a paid session or a free one, doesn't really matter. How you get the most fun out of a challenge. That's usually my go-to. And then it really doesn't matter if your intelligence is low or that somebody solves it with low intelligence because he just saw through it or something else. We'll twist it some way that it works.
Yeah. I don't personally. I won't mind if people solve it in meta level, even if they have a low intelligence or wisdom or whatever. As long as they have fun and engage in what I put in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. Because also just finding all the clues how to solve the puzzle is already an interactional part in the game. Your investigation checks. I want to check on top of the door. Ah, there's the key.
And even the discussions between the players. I mean, that doesn't even have to be all role play, but it's just they're engaging with each other with the game. And if you ask me, then you've done your job as a DM.
Exactly.
Misha says in chat, my parent in Ashley's campaign will try to solve everything with a hammer.
Team Mole.
Yeah, Team Mole, I see. Yeah. Well, let's continue to our next answer, because otherwise we'll never end the show. And the next one it's actually 2 answers again. Chris says the clue was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there were 9 blank spaces below. I think it took us for over an hour. So this one was one of the first riddles that was put up there that when I asked the question that didn't have an answer included. There are 9 spaces below. I know the answer. Do you know the answer if you see this riddle? Do you know the riddle?
Is it 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12?
Yeah, it's that. It's actually that one. Yeah, so that went very
Write that
quick.
down. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Poor players. Poor players.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because that takes up 9 spots, indeed. And I thought this is kind of a riddle that's really, well, how should I put it? Just a bit of logic. So there's no door to open through 10 levers or something. It's a riddle that, just has to do with coming up with a rational way to progress this series of numbers, so to say. Mm-hmm. And then the other one that I've listed on the same page is by Rosero, who did it on answered the question on Instagram. It was actually a partner puzzle. Her character and mine were placed in a separate but identical series of rooms, and we had to get through each room by changing something. For example, I broke a vase and the door to the next room opened, stuff like that. We almost filled the last room because it was empty, and one of us, I'm not saying who, had a dumb ass solution. Well, the
Team
thing
Hammer. Team Mole.
Yeah, Team Mole.
Smash the walls. Yeah. We'll make a door.
Well, hello, Severiol01. Let's first dive into that one. If people don't get the answer right, do you allow int or whiz checks and provide a clue?
Yes, although I usually don't put them into an int or whiz check. It's just a regular D20 roll. Also, just to get a bit out of that min-maxing part. It's just a D100. It's easier.
Sorry, you use D100 for what?
For the check. If people look at the answer, do you not allow int or whiz checks? Not sure why I should put int or whiz. I'm just putting it down on a regular scale from, okay guys, you can roll, group check, everyone rolls a D100. Let's see what you come up with. Okay. At least that's my approach.
But what's
usually if they want... Yeah, sorry.
What's the goal then?
Just if they want a clue for example, for just part and they're done investigating, just waiting for dumb luck to happen, then you just put a D100 into the game. Because I don't want to put that on the stat block. To put it like that. I don't want to make sure that the intelligence may be puzzle solving, but it doesn't mean that a party with, for example, a full barbarian party, then they wouldn't get anywhere at all. The D100 makes it a little bit more even in my regard.
But what do you set as a goal for the D100 then?
Usually, depending on how much they already gathered, the DC lowers. And every time it lowers with a decimal. If they're really close to it, then it's usually 60-40 chance that they get the right clue.
So what I usually do is I allow for an int or whiz check, and but I adjust the hint I give them depending on how high their result is. So if they roll really low, then it's gonna be a very cryptic hint. But if they roll really high, then it's gonna be more explanatory. But that said, if they really can't seem to solve the puzzle and we move on, then yeah, maybe an intelligence check just suffices, and I give them a solution.
So
right, Jasper?
You give a solution, but it also depends if the puzzle is so important to get past, or that it just gives. You
Definitely.
will always remember as not having solved in an adventure, because I think that can be fun as well. You know, that door that you never opened and you keep thinking about for like 20 levels.
What loot might be behind that one?
Yeah.
But that's then is the puzzle is optional. But if it's like we had in the GaryCon episode, that was essential to your progress. You had to get through that door, otherwise you would just become stuck. Then
then it's not.
Do you guys know the 5-room dungeon model by any chance?
Can't say that I do.
It's a series of 5 rooms that you find in every challenge or game or dungeon. And usually you have one entrance or guardian that you have to beat just to get inside. Then there's a puzzle thing. But usually there are 2 routes. And usually if you solve the puzzle, you get a shortcut to where you want to be. Or else you have to do more challenges along the way. So it helps with the resource management part. Because one of the best advice I ever got was, if they can't solve the puzzle and they can't advance, what will happen to the adventure? So that's why I'm also just putting a puzzle, for example, is something to give an extra boon, to find a potion of health, for example, as a reward for solving the puzzle, or a potion of haste if you're gonna fight a big bad evil guy in the next room. Something that helps them in their odds, just to make sure that they don't stare at a wall and like, we're never gonna finish this damn adventure. Like I would be in most puzzle cases.
So there are a couple of things happening in chat again. Severio says, so then it's really an OOC activity, the puzzle?
Out of combat.
Yeah, out of character.
Out of character, but it was in response to what Rick said earlier about intelligence wisdom not tying into those thoughts, I think.
Yeah. I think we now have the, as always, so I'm an Hegelian. Like Hegel as a philosopher, and he says it's always an end. Both things. It can be out of character, it can be in character, and it can be both things at the same time. Because I think in a role-playing game, it's always both things, because you are not your character in a way. So there's always 2 aspects to that. Well, there's a lot of things happening in chat right now.
Yeah, I'm putting in the 5-room part because they were asking for it, so I'm just putting the 5 rooms in there.
You have that prepared. Wow, okay.
I did a DM course yesterday for someone, and this is one of the things I talked about. So I
thought either you're typing really, really fast or you have it prepared.
I'm pretty fast, but I can't make this speed, no.
Cool.
Well, nice see that Michel says that the Take 20 approach, that's straight from 3rd edition as well, because I don't think 5th edition has that in its rulebook.
No, it doesn't.
For everyone who doesn't know what Take 20 is like, I just take my time, there's no pressure involved, and I roll a 20 on the die as a weighting.
Yeah.
That's also the approach, but I had a group that really took advantage of that. Every time I didn't have any pressure, they just say, fuck that, take 10, take 20. Good luck, Rick.
Yeah, that's I never liked that rule either. It made lockpicking useless, and
well, it made me add pressure. For example, if you do your lockpick and you have something is chasing you, for example, or you're the rolling block from Indiana Jones is coming after you, you can't take 20. Well, you can try, but that means that you get splattered. So that helps as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Getting splattered. I think Roger and me are also kind of 2nd edition Dungeon Masters at the core. We learned our craft in that edition, and that there were such strange roles and rules to use for everything that we just did most things through role-playing instead of using a role to do it. So everything got resolved besides the dice, so to say.
Well, that's always been my main commentary on third edition or 3.5, that everything has a role.
Yeah.
And I was really glad with fifth when they let go of that principle that sometimes you don't need to roll, or sometimes stuff becomes easier because you role play. But to each his own, I guess.
Yeah. But let's get into these answers again, because otherwise we'll never answer them.
Yeah. Okay.
So the first one is like a very clear, rational puzzle. The second one is a challenge puzzle where the rooms matter where you are. Stuff is happening in a certain order or non-order. So the puzzle is really your environment. I thought that was a great distinction between these two answers, where one just puts a riddle in front of you, so to say, and the other makes it part of an adventure. Both of them are okay, of course, but it's an approach that I've seen a lot more. There even was one where they said doing some wiring on some stuff. To do that, you had to make a Sudoku instead of doing real wiring. And then when you had a high result on your roll, you got an easier Sudoku.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not sure what I think about that, but...
Well, the funny thing is that if your players love Sudokus, then you're okay, probably, right? But if your players don't like Sudokus, then even the easy Sudoku is not fun.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's also just to see what kind of party do you have with me. For example, I have two books that I usually use for my traps. One is Traps and Treachery, is a third edition extra that now with a little bit of rewriting you easily use for fifth edition. And it has a lot of traps already in there. And it's also to see, okay, which one can I use with which group that I'm playing with. And I have dungeons that I have just have a choice what is on the door. It could be the mechanism trap, it could be the magical trap, to see how the party balance works. And the same goes for the traps that revisited in Xanathar, for example. And also make it a lot easier just to work with these mechanics a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, although I've been thinking about this, and especially putting riddles into Xanathar. Such a strange move, I think, because everybody reads that book from front to back if they have it right. So every player knows. Well, okay, that's not true exactly, but if there's someone in your party that reads the books, then you can never use it again. That's always
true. But then again, reskinning brings you a hell of a lot far. I can just do the same dungeon 3 times with the same group; they won't notice.
No, you can just mirror it, and then they won't notice.
No.
Yeah, make the monsters green instead of blue.
Yeah, for example, reskinning or reflavoring are just such a great tool because homebrew is dangerous. It could go awesome, it could go very bad. But reskinning and reflavoring really makes it a lot more easy also for dungeon masters to use. For example, if I did some of my one shots that I also put up for sale, I also have them on my YouTube channel. If people are watching my streams, they usually have an idea how the story can go. And then it's up to me to make sure they have some different paths prepared, but just like, oh, he's going that way. I think he knows what's happening over there. Time to switch a room. Just to keep that excitement level up.
Cool. Yeah. So this is where the flexible dungeon master thing comes up again, which I always have a bit of a problem with. I almost everything I develop is unique, which is a lot of work for me. But for some reason I can't wrap my head around reusing stuff. Which is more a fault of me than that is incorrectly to do, of course. But I always have a problem with that. No. Although I do reskin monsters a lot. That's a thing that I do. Yeah. Ashley says, I use puzzles, predicaments, and perplexities to get the flavor and the setups, and then, like I say, kids sorting puzzles or learning puzzles. Yeah. I Google puzzles for toddlers.
I'm in Team Relver in this part. I usually do that as well.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. And then Severio says, exactly, if your players don't like puzzles, don't do puzzles.
It depends on the group that you have. I have one group that really despises, for example, the whole exploration part. They don't want to be bothered with traveling. They just want to go into a dungeon, explore it, kick the ass of whoever is there, get the gold, and get out. Sure. We also have groups that really don't really like the combat as much. It's like, okay, we do combat if we have to, but let us just roleplay and see how this ancient tomb, what kind of knowledge can be found there. And I'm just there with an Aztec Wikipedia page, giving them hints whatever they find.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do agree with Safariel there that you have kind of, as a DM, you have a responsibility to entertain your people, your players, and especially if you know them and you know in advance that they hate doing puzzles, then just don't give them puzzles because they're not gonna have a good time. If I force you to make Sudoku before you can advance in story, then yeah, that's not gonna be fun.
I must say that in the
I
Wonders,
love
I do
Sudokus.
use that helps. No, even with the Wonders, for example, because it's also a place where I show off what I create and what I have. I do put the Wonders against some things that they really often they don't all like. Mostly 2 or 3 people at most like a certain point, or a certain part, like a puzzle or exploration parts. But then again, if you have a group of 5 people, you can never please them all. There's rarely a group.
No. But then
will
it's okay that if two of the 5 like a puzzle, then it's okay to put in a puzzle every once in a while. Then those 2 guys will have a field day, and the other 3 need to wait until it's solved. And but then combat comes around, and maybe those other 3 players are really into tactical combat and have to solve that puzzle. And
or they interrupt the puzzle solving, and it takes 2 hours extra.
Yeah.
Every damn time.
Yeah. Let's go to the next answer.
Yeah.
Ian says, not 5th edition, Mutant Future, a sort of Gamma World BX remix. But when the PCs had to disarm a reactor before it overloaded, they had to solve a Sudoku to... Oh, I did put it in. Sorry. To emulate the rewiring. The better they rolled on the skill check, the easier the puzzle. Most of the players thought it was great. One threatened to murder me on the spot.
I would have been that one. That's more
I
like
would
I'm
have
going out for
said,
chips
give
and
me that
drinks.
Sudoku, I'll solve it. You guys go on.
This will usually person. My character is thinking, and you see me walking to the fridge and asking if anyone needs something, popcorn or whatever, just to stall time.
Yeah, I've got another one coming that where you feel the hatred brewing. So doing that one. Agreed. I have a Jesse guy in my group as well, and once in a time you have to cater it to his wishes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Misha says, I really like that answer. Yeah, I think so too. Ashley, you said the old classic, a chimera is a dragon designed by a D&D party during planning for a raid. I didn't actually get that one. Maybe you do.
It's an old, it's just an old saying, because yeah, I'm not sure if I can explain it correctly, but the way if you let players their imagination run wild, they'll create a chimera instead of a dragon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
A chimera is an amalgamation of all kinds of
I
different
understand.
stuffs.
I get the reference now, yeah. I was thinking too literal there. I like getting a puzzle with different difficulties and let the roll determine which they get. All the part, also the part where I player wanted to murder the DM. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next one because we already discussed this in a way. Sean says, a room with a timer and a button. The doors automatically close behind you and the timer starts counting down. Thing is, the timer's only counting down the time till the door opens. I spent several minutes in this room when my DM put it in. They made the countdown super intense, like the whole room was about to explode. It only ended once my ally decided we had to let it go. Very mentally painful.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like it.
I heard that
You did
one.
something like that as well, right? You gave your Jasper. You gave your party 2 doors, and you said that this is the correct one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that I thought that was a really cool riddle, but man, my players were at it for like 2 hours or something, and the riddle was this: there were 2 doors, and above the door there were it said rules, and the first rule was a riddle always has to have a correct answer or something like that, and then the second was the right door is the correct door. And then they chose the left door for some reason, and they got obliterated.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it was so funny how he's messing with our heads, and they
it's reverse psychology.
Reverse psychology. But the riddle was very straightforward. Just saying, no, it's the right door. The right door is the correct door, and they chose the left door for some reason. Yeah, which killed one of the characters because there was a sphere of annihilation behind it.
Ow.
Yeah, I'm really hard like that. Yeah. Well, he could have survived, but he already suffered damage, so he didn't survive. But luckily, that guy was a set of lenses that could be put into a different body, and then he would reanimate. Yeah, all kinds of funny characters, right? But I love these kinds of riddles.
This one's not a puzzle, but it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's not really a puzzle, just awesome. It feels like a puzzle until it isn't.
It's a DM buying time. That's what this is.
Yeah, and adding false suspense, but it works. I can really imagine someone doing that. It's I would enjoy that very much as a DM.
You know what it's time for? You know what it is time
big screen.
for?
It's the big screen. Is it the big screen?
It's the big answer screen.
Uh-oh.
I thought so.
And because Roger was feeling a bit left out, he gets the big box to put his head in.
Ooh.
Oh, I have a bigger box.
So, Nikki says, all puzzles that only have one solution, where the answer must be exactly what the DM has in mind. Nothing more annoying than being ready for a session of RP and then having the equivalent of solving a crossword puzzles for 4 hours. Personal example, as a player, not long ago, the Dungeon Master had created a real-life puzzle, which already started with a ladder in a bottle to be fished out with an iron wire. Smashing the bottle wasn't an option, even if that would have been in character, but the DM didn't want the shards of glass everywhere. Then it was a message that had to be decoded, and that code had to be interpreted to walk on dungeon tiles in a certain order. I think I was the odd one out there, the rest of the group liked it. I think it took 4 hours in total, the last 2 of which were basically random miniature about grid moving. Well, I was getting my laptop in order due to complete disinterest.
Yeah, that's a rough one, because that's all what happens if you have, for example, 2 players that like puzzles and the others really don't, and it takes too long, you get this kind of thing. Then again, in this case, if the Dungeon Master wants to play an escape room, go to an escape room. They're not that expensive. You can go there. There's also digital ones nowadays, so...
I mean, I empathize with this player, but on the other hand, just suck it up and let the others have their fun. And okay, for you, it might be an evening lost, but you'll get your chance next time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's 2 answers that are seemingly opposite and then combine into the same answer at the same time. Felt a bit strange how you complimented each other in that one.
Yeah, one took the scenic route, the other took the highway. That's kind of the
same.
But I kind of agree. We've had a lot of Nicky's answers on the show by now because he always answers the questions that I put forward for Talking Void. He's a member of the Dutch 20 community. And I have come to know him as a bit cynical. And so I hear his tone of voice, even though I've never met him in this. And I really like the answer as an answer, though. So
yeah, definitely. And he's entitled to feel that way. I mean, that's okay. You can't feel bad about the session. There can be aspects of D&D you don't enjoy. Except that mean that other people don't enjoy it. And sometimes it's hard for a DM to cater to everyone at the table. You
Exactly.
really have to
Especially
know your players very well to be able to do that. Especially if you're a DM like Rick is for people he doesn't even know, then you just have to throw in a bit of everything and hope something sticks.
Yeah, exactly. But also, if you have a group that doesn't game a lot, especially with, for example, scheduling or not wanting to do it online, there's a bit of a pitfall if it comes to that part because you can't have everything every session.
Yeah.
Sadly, my ones usually have some basic role play, a lot of exploration, and a big end combat. That's kind of how my things are built up. At least for the one shots, just so everyone is just not really into giving themselves to strangers in a role playing sense, can just ease into it while just exploring and putting some flair into that one. And of course, everyone wants to beat a dragon because it's Dungeons and Dragons. You want to go home with, I'm murdered a dragon, and that your partner is over there like, no, you rolled some digital dice and drank beer. That's all you did.
Yeah.
No, I killed the dragon.
Yeah.
It was me. I did that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great example of Michel in D and Dialogue. That was exactly how his wife reacted the first few times.
That's
Love it.
I think my wife once took over and put a peanut dragon in.
A peanut dragon?
Peanut butter dragon.
Nice.
Which wasn't received that well because everybody was really serious about Dungeons and Dragons. And I think that was the moment that she decided never to play again. So, but well, I think a few things happening in chat again. Ashley says, I have once had 2 players that hated puzzles. I let them gamble on who of the other 3 would solve the puzzle. That was fun for them.
Yeah,
a great solution.
I dig that.
Yeah, kept them interested for 15 minutes as they had the stake in what was going on. I like that one. Severial says, let them stick to their original choice, but I don't know what that referred to.
I think that's referring to the bottle, smashing the bottle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you're really angry about the DM putting another puzzle in, then just...
Yep, exactly.
Smash his things.
Yeah.
Yeah, see...
Also, what about
the Monty Hall one?
I have this party that I DM for like once a month, and then when the epidemic hit, they suddenly had nothing to do in the evening. So we still did that once a month, but then every other 2 weeks. How do you say that? In between that session, there was another session, and I did one shots there where I explored things differently from their normal games, and one was with a puzzle that they never solved, and the other one was a one shot where they died in the end. It was kind of scripted in a way, in a strange way. Well, they didn't actually die, but they became something else, so to say, like a fleshy monster. Cool. And I explored a kind of different kinds of game to see what they would like to do in an adventure besides their main adventure. Had a lot of laughs, but they thought my adventure where they died was pretty gross. I can do very gross things in adventures.
I can attest to that.
They were all looking at me at the end of the evening like this. What did just happen? So I had a laugh.
I once saw someone turn green from his description of room.
Yeah, literally.
Awesome.
I had a player turn green at my table. I'm so proud of that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, okay.
I can do that. Should I? No.
No, don't.
No context here. Okay. But that's a great idea to how you can explore different options that you players like by doing one shots with the same group. That's what I wanted to add to this.
Well, and this goes for what we talked about at the start as well. When you start a persistent campaign as a DM, just tell your players what they're in for, what they can expect. Whether it's these themes we discussed earlier, like racism or slavery or whatever, or if there's gonna be puzzles, just tell them. And if they all shout no, please don't, then just don't.
But then you're going to say, but I know this really cool puzzle and you will like it.
Yeah. But that's just me. That's I can convince people, but no, that's not. No, if people don't agree, then maybe they're not fit for that campaign, and they should look elsewhere. That's okay too.
We have the 4 tiers of play with Dungeons & Dragons: so 1 to 5, 6 to 11, 11 to 17, and 18 to 20. And I usually do a session 0 in between each one of these tiers because things are changing at that point. I had for one group that would really want to go into war styling kind of things in the second tier, and halfway they just decided this is awful. We hate having so many creatures around us. We thought just we were walking in there, smashing all their heads in, and we'd be heroes for the country. But no, sadly no. But the session 0 really explained what they did want to do. They want to go dungeon delving. They still want to kick ass, but then let one big baddie. And even taking the time just to see okay, guys, what do you want to do? How can we play this game together that we all enjoy this part?
Yeah. I wouldn't even confine that to specific levels or something, but that is a good cutoff points. But just talk to your DM if you're not enjoying anything, or if you do want to see some particular stuff, then just talk to him.
Yeah, if you're a dungeon master, I'm not sure the player has any fun. Ask him.
Yeah.
Well,
not everyone is expressive.
I often ask if my players are still enjoying the adventure, and then they politely nod yes, and then I still don't know. So
exactly. With Wonders, for example, I usually check the day afterwards if they enjoyed the session. Usually individually, how did it feel? For example, one of them now really has a lore dump because he had a character with a backstory 16 pages long, with a level 1 character. Like, okay, you were epic once, but let's start at level 2 and give you some amnesia that you have to bring back the memories. And he just got memories back in 3 episodes, the last 3 of the Wonder stream. You got a lot of just lore dump on what he all now again knows. Now he's finally level 9. And he still has to work for all the other memories. But just to check, is that okay? Is that how you envision this part? Is this okay? And he was like, this is like okay, I want more. Next Tuesday, let's go. So, okay, I didn't get that from your playing, so just to make sure that you're enjoying it, please go on. I'd love also putting the mask on. The first and the other players like, I don't know anything. I thought it was just over asking.
Well, that might be even more important than what Annette just now said. But if you're having fun, let your DM know as well. That's really that's more important. Because then we know we're doing a good job, and we can.
I think I already said it in the last episode, but I killed the character off screen in a way. I just let him disappear from the campaign, and then I called him afterwards to say, "Hey, do you like what I did to your character?" And he was like, "Oh, it's amazing," and I'm wondering what you're going to do. So I told him what I was going to do. It was not really killing him off screen. He's still somewhere in a parallel world or something. He's not looking right now, I think. Yeah. But then what I really liked about this is that when the next session happened, one of the players asked him when I was present, "Did you like what Jasper did?" And he said, "Yes, I love it." And I know I could do that to his character because I know the player somewhat. But even then, it was a bit. It was kind of new for me as well to do it that way. But the other player, I couldn't have done that to him because he would have really hated it. Yeah. So that's know your players, talk with them, or don't. But
if you don't know your players, talk with them.
Yeah,
that's.
Let's go to the next answer. Von Chimeran says, the worst puzzle, the road to the main square in Bryn Shander, Icewind Dale, D&D. Our dungeon master back then was a cool guy, but his style was very School of Hard Knocks, especially since we were all new players. We said, we are walking to the main square. Response, Where are you walking to? You don't know where the square is. So we asked around, but no NPC wanted to help us. We walked around and researched, which didn't help either. In the end, we just knocked on doors to ask for help. Finally, someone gave us the direction to the square. The first street to the right and then the second to the left or something. The NPC locked its door and refused to speak to us anymore. When we set out, the dungeon master told us that we forgot to ask if the first street to the right or left from that door of the NPC should be. Anyway, we spent half of a session frustrated trying to find a square to the settlement.
This isn't even a puzzle.
This
is being a dick.
Yeah, this
is toxic DMing. This is toxic DMing. What is this?
This is toxic DMing. Yeah, and
what was the solution? Buy a map.
The funny thing is that Bryn Shander is no more than 3,000 feet across.
Oh wow!
And you know, when you're outside of it, you can see the square.
But I mean,
so he wanted a perception check.
Yeah, well, not even that. I think if you just walk in and go straight, you will reach the square. But this is such a...
Was he trying to teach them something or it doesn't say, right?
The topic continued after this. This is another Dutch 20 answer, and it continued after this. And they think that he couldn't admit that he hadn't prepared that well.
So he was stalling for time.
Yeah, but even then, when they got to the square...
Cheap.
And the square was empty, so when they finally got there, they couldn't even... talk to something, and then the druid said, well, I can't speak to animals and talk to a rat, and then he said, there is no rat here, you know. So it kept on going in the same type of mood.
It's
I'm not
recalcitrant DM.
Yeah, I'm not one to bash a dungeon master, but this is well, in this case, you could say that it's being a bad dungeon master, at least for that session.
I think you're being a little bit too polite here. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Or,
no. I just say I don't know what's happening in his mind. Maybe it's very difficult.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm trying to empathize as well, but I really can't.
Of course, there's always a possibility that you didn't prepare and that you don't know how to wing it if you need to. I have a folder with just random encounters for cities, wilderness, etc. for everything. Because we all know players will decide stupid shit. Yeah, you decide on we're gonna go that way in the start of the next session. Now we're gonna turn left. Oh, thanks. Didn't prepare that part. I usually put in some random encounter just to buy myself some time, but I can't just have them walk 2 hours in a village and refusing to help them anyway.
No.
Have your tips ready, Dungeon Masters. There's a lot of nobody can prepare for everything.
No, exactly. And even if you don't feel confident enough to wing it, or it's such a crucial change in how the flow of the adventure is going to go, then say, yeah, sorry, that's it for tonight. Let's talk about it a bit, but I need more time to prepare this because I didn't see this coming. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Guys, get a drink. Give me at least half an hour, and if not, we'll just play Monopoly or something.
So this is an answer that's good for giving Dungeon Master tips about stuff, right? And that's why I'm not eager to say
no one's
that he's
completely
bad
useless.
DM.
You can no, but no one's completely useless. You can always function as a bad example.
Exactly.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, there you have it. Let's go to the next one. So, a series of corridor traps. The party was quite confident of getting through.
Oh, cool. Pictures.
Yeah, pictures. That's why I included this one, because I think it adds to the experience, right?
I like the last picture.
Yeah.
Something went wrong.
Yeah, and I think he said, the orc said, it's a trap made by goblins. What could go wrong? And then the ranger said, never mind. And then the healer said, I'll be preparing my cure wound spell. And then the barbarian fell under the trap. But I love these visuals, man.
Yeah. It is some great terrain.
Yeah. And I think that when you present a trap this way, then you want to engage, right? I think it's a kind of corridor of traps, which could be considered a puzzle in a way. I think that's why it was an answer to my puzzle question, and I think this fell into the good category. Yeah, so there are ways to engage characters in game with your puzzles, so to say.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
Well, if you, but sometimes that's not enough. I mean, in the previous story, the DM had prepared a whole glass bottle and actual stuff you could touch and work with. But yeah,
but
can do
there
it. You
the
can do
thing
what
was
you
an
want to.
out of character thing. It
Yeah,
wasn't
okay,
the thing
yeah.
that you're. I understand.
yeah,
very
okay,
what
I
you're
get what you
getting
mean.
at. Yeah.
Well, I did a D in Dutch episode about traps a few weeks ago, and also I used the from a company called Cobra Prince. He helped me out with a dragon lock set. There was some chambers that you could turn around. So once I've made a Thieves Guild adventure, and every time that I walked in a bad square, some trap was going off somewhere, or just a wall became spiked, and just had all different kind of models for it. It was amazing. It really helped.
Yeah. So
It
Yeah.
looks amazing, but
definitely.
I can understand that it was quite painful, especially if you indeed underestimate goblins and kobolds.
yeah.
Never do.
They win because of traps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always liked kobolds in that regard. Yeah. So it was a great one to include, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So we are going back to the small screen again. We have a couple of them left. We are nearing the end of them, but let's read this one. Fade away says, I really like this one. My
Cool,
DM had us in. I think he found it somewhere. Hallway with 3 rooms and 1 magical locked door with 3 locks. First room was full of taxidermy animals. Second room had green plant flooring and a fountain in the corner. Third room was a place for horses with bridles, saddles, shoes, brushes, grain and other horse things. We had trouble figuring it out until one of the characters started picking the plants and realized they were clovers.
Okay.
At this point, I think the writer thought, well, we all know what the solution is now, right? But I couldn't get it. I didn't get it. And I think, is this because my English isn't good enough to understand some significance about the clover? So I even Googled the clover, if there are other ways to interpret the clover, but all I got was this
rainbow,
plant.
leprechauns. That's where my
all
mind's
those-
going.
I was also thinking Irish or something. Chat, help us out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. So
Get a
what-
fountain in the corner, maybe create a rainbow. Or...
well, I had this thing. You could have a hoof of a horse with a thingy,
Yeah, it's also for luck. Yeah.
also for luck. But then what's the taxidermy stuff doing? You know,
Maybe a rabbit's paw. It's also,
rabbit's paw.
also brings good luck. So maybe you need to create search the 3 lucky things.
Those are the keys. Could be.
Yeah, I'm creating the puzzle
We're
as I
winging
go.
it, but we are creating an answer though to this
Yeah.
to this riddle. We now
See,
have
I'm
the answer.
instantly engaged. I like puzzles.
Rick is sitting back like this. Okay.
Yeah,
with the
there you go,
guys
yeah.
on
This
the-
will be something like, do I have my mess kit with me? Yeah, okay, I'll put a mess kit somewhere, put some gold pieces in there. Where's the fucking rainbow? That would be my approach, and then see how it works.
rabbit foot, clover, and horseshoe.
Yeah,
all
that's
lucky.
the rest.
Yeah.
Unlucky, yeah.
So yeah,
But then what?
that's probably it then. But I liked how I always like when when the answers to my questions are open ended and you don't have a sense of completion to them, because this could be it. But then if that person fade away, cool name by the way, how it is spelled, is watching back this show and is saying to him or herself, what are these guys on about? I mean, you know, everybody knows that clovers are a type of key. Or something like that. Rocky. Okay. Okay. So we've lost Vechel here.
Yeah, but
I'm writing it down for my
Anyway,
players.
anyway, if you see this, please write in the comments below or something, or in chat if you're there.
Yeah.
What?
What? Yeah.
I want to know.
I want to know the
wow.
answer.
No
I
singing.
want you to
No,
show
my Rocky.
me.
No.
Lucky.
I can certainly mute you.
Yeah, you can, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he'll continue singing anyway.
Yeah. But I loved this answer, which you can imagine, I think. We got a couple of them. I already said that. Okay, let's go to the next one. The Dragon on Short. The Dragon's Hoard, sorry. Says, best puzzle had to do with ghosts that needed to be placed in lanterns, I guess. I used Mage Hand to slap them into it because we couldn't physically touch them.
Okay.
Awesome.
Wow.
Riddle.
Did you think of
Mage
that?
Hand. Yeah.
How to deal with the ethereal stuff.
Well, I do have a little bit of a side story that kind of links to this part. My girlfriend really likes putting puzzles in Dungeons and Dragons games. That's the part I hate most about her. Love for all the other things, but this is just
mother of your child.
Yes, but this will never sit with me. But she had a dungeon, and because of some mirrors, we became ethereal. And because you could be ethereal or becoming a plant or becoming another side of monster, and there were lots of puzzles inside one mansion. And there was one time that I had a clear moment during all these puzzles, because at one point I was ethereal and I was playing a wizard. I was like, wait a second, we had a chest on a pedestal that we just knew if we were gonna watch it, something's gonna blow. We just knew this was trapped as hell. But in an ethereal form, I could, for example, touch with a mage hand and not get my ass blown up. Well, we opened all possible doors that we could find in this ethereal form. We blew up half the mansion with those glyphs. And I have to admit, this wasn't the solution my girlfriend was looking for at the time. This wasn't the solution that she wanted at all. And she made us really take days to find that treasure underneath all the debris. I understand why she did that. But that's also a possibility just to throw out the puzzle.
That's true. It does, and DMs should realize this, that just sometimes players come up with a way cooler solution than you did, and just go with it.
Yeah, cool guys to look at explosions. This worked perfectly. We felt awesome, and she was like, "Oh, there goes the entire session. Damn it, guys need to prepare somewhat. Here's a random encounter. Okay."
I've even read that some DMs don't even come up with their own solution for their own puzzle. They just let the players do it, and then they listen for 30 minutes, and they think, okay, this one is the correct solution, then let's go with that.
This sounds somewhat legit. Yeah, I'll take that.
I remember when I was an early DM, so to say, and I had invented this cool adventure which had a house in it, which was really big, and kind of the solution of the whole problem lay at the top of this big building, which had 9 stories and all kinds of rooms in it. And then the players came up with the fact, well, couldn't we just climb the house and get in through one of the windows on top? And I said, damn it, I couldn't stand that, but it's so totally logical to do that. I was thinking, they go in through the front door, they find the stairs, they have to wiggle through all these passages. No, just climb the whole building.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So
always
circumventing stuff is cool.
Well, yeah, always account for the mages. Like fly, etherealness, that stuff will always... Even if you have a door and they have a stone shape, and they can just go through the wall.
Or they have a battle rager and they can just go through.
High-level spellcasters make a lot of puzzles. If you don't put them in an out-of-character approach, they can easily be just walked around by.
Yeah.
That's what you fought for. As a wizard, you chose a spell to do that, so you still have to give them the opportunity to do so. But if you love making puzzles, I don't know anyone who would, but if you do, that can really mess up your game. For example, this mage hand etherealness thing, I blew up half a mansion.
Yeah, but that's a good story. It's a memorable experience. So that's a win in my book. So
I have this party where everybody can fly.
Well, then no more challenges with the second story windows, please.
No,
it's all dungeons.
It's funny how it works because they still want to stay close to stuff. in a way, because they're scared of getting counterspelled or dispelled or suffering damage, so they can't concentrate and everything. So there's always a kind of level where they keep to a certain level. I had this big worm come out of the sea, and it went 200 meters up, and they didn't dare to fly above it, because if it would spit acid, for example, and it would hit them, they could still fall the whole distance. The ones with innate flying had a lower speed, so it took them a while to get up there, and it's still dynamic in a way. There are still those things to consider.
Yeah.
High level magic is difficult, by the way.
Yeah, but sometimes you just need to embrace it. You need but take some knowledge about your characters. But sometimes you can just use what they can do to create interesting stuff for them to solve.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be puzzles or anything, but if they can all fly, then make them fight on cliffs and or make height a thing that actually matters. Just embrace it.
Hello, Jesse Barn.
The ones are finishing up on YouTube, so.
Oh, well, that's why they are coming here.
Yeah. Thomas, Kevin, Jesse is Jesse Barn, and then probably Dave will also be here.
Yeah, cool.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the chat. Welcome to Rick's moment of fame, so to say.
Wow.
No, just kidding. He's making us famous right now, right?
We're having a good time. That's the most important.
We are having that's the. I always forget to say this, but this show really is about those evenings that you would normally spend talking about Dungeons and Dragons, but you can't do either because you have kids or you're too far apart or there's a pandemic, and this kinds of needs to. The idea is that this would fill that void in a sense of not being able to talk between sessions.
Dave and I have the Thursdays for that. We just paint minis and answer questions.
Yeah, that's cool.
And finally, I get to the painting because I hate miniature painting, and talking to people gives me at least the it keeps the hatred at bay. It's enough. How do you call it? Afleidend. It's distracting enough to not make me go foam at the mouth and everything. So just have to know your own schedule and see how your own manual works, and this works for me. And Dave's very patient with me every week, so.
Wait, so you're a void that talks to fill a void? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. We have to discover that for ourselves, though. But, precognition, predestination, prophecy, whatever. A lot of things happening between the wonders, I see in chat. So have a good time.
Yeah, that's usual.
Yeah, cool.
Also, every Tuesday, with or without the streaming, that happens.
Yeah, no. That's how it's supposed to go, right?
Yeah.
Next one. Jay says, a timed challenge where we had to answer riddles in combat to prevent being attacked by progressively harder monsters. We were frustrated because we thought we had a correct answer, but the DM said no. Our answer was owl. The answer the DM was looking for was night owl. Jay Henningsen, dang, I included his full name. Well, it's on thingy now. And that's the story of how I met my new DM.
Yeah, I understand that part, because that's just nitpicking for part.
Yeah.
Because if you want to bring in puzzles or riddles into combat, it's hard enough. Especially if you also, especially in the higher tiers, you're also using layer actions, for example. It's hard enough to see where you want to go with it. Then if you just get hit for just having one part of the word wrong, that hurts.
Well, I think there are two things happening here. We had this example before where we saw the thing about Prince Shinder and finding the square, so to say. And a similar thing is happening here in the sense that he's not addressing the thing that the players want. And so it even breaks up the party that's what implied here. They switched dungeon masters after this. Well, I don't know if it was a one shot on Discord or anything, and then it's not that significant because you just search for a different party. But if this is a longer running campaign and this happens, that's really disruptive. The other part about this is that what you might consider is the state of mind of the dungeon master here, because some people are like this, and that's not okay for your players, but you could discuss this afterwards with your dungeon master and solve this in a way that you said, okay, I see your point of view, you wanted to be a night owl, but why isn't this answer correct? And maybe he says, I'm sorry, I didn't even see this as a problem because this is how my brain is wired, and I just thought you would see that it should have been a night owl, and that's why you failed at this step.
But personally, what I think might be happening is, he had prepared a failure state, and if they had gotten all the answers correct so far, he was just looking for that one mistake, so he could use his failure state and show the players what would happen if they failed. I mean, I don't know if that's it, but that could be, and DM focuses too much on everything he had prepared, and he wanted to show more of what he had prepared, so he went real nitpicky. I mean, it's still very, very nitpicky, and
but it can be where the other thing is just stupid. I think that here you have to talk about what happened, because of because maybe he could explain that it's a failure state that he was. If he even has to.
I'm not condoning that behavior or anything, but it's something that might have been going on inside of this DM's head.
Yeah. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit for. I understand. A part of me is also. I've also had moments where I was like, no, I need this answer for this to succeed. But depending on whatever you're adding to a certain challenge, like in this case, harder monsters, I don't really see why almost all owls are nocturnal. So what will night owl specifically do? Then again, even if you know the different kind of owl species, I hate birds. I have no clue what they change in color. That's all I know. Birds? Being pooped on too many times, then it just happens. My dexterity saving throws are worthless. But especially if you don't know the species, for example, you don't have any specific clue that would lead to that part. One of the kids came out with an ocelot. That's kind of a cheetah kind of thing. Never heard of it. So we had to Google for what the hell does he want to be, because it was a lycanthrope story, so he wants to be a were-ocelot. Sure. We'll get that up. But you do have to know it, and if you don't know it, and you didn't have the possibility to learn it in-game, then this is almost an impossible door that you put in front of the party.
Yeah.
Again with the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, still haven't seen the door. But,
well, that's the one after this one, because we're getting to the last one. So.
Okay.
But I thought that this one it's more complicated than the previous ones in a sense, because something's going wrong, and you can really help the dungeon master. You can really help him out here, because, this is just a learning curve for some DMs, I think.
Yeah, unless Night Owl was very important to the rest of the adventure, but I can't.
But then he can explain
the neon letters
well.
at every step they took. Neon letters, Night Owl, Night Owl. That of course, my point is moot. But
we lack context to judge any further, I think.
I do like the puzzle part, by the way, because I also like the critical role part where they fight the Sphinx. That's adding years to their language if they can't guess its name. Yeah. They could, of course, just annihilate the Andrew Sphinx. They were in a great level to do so. But just getting into the puzzle, solving that part is a really great twist.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing a good job at those things, I think. He has got a lot of fail states prepared. And I do think that he sometimes does the same thing that happens here, though, where he wants to show other stuff as well, and thinks of another way to incorporate it anyway.
Yeah.
Which isn't
that's kind of
wrong.
what I said.
Yeah.
Start. Yeah.
Yeah, but for Critical Role, I'm talking about Matthew Mercer.
Oh, like that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So okay, let's go to the last one. This one is by Brandon. Brandon has already submitted a couple of other answers as well, and I like this one. Any door ever in a damn dungeon. Parties will hold the game for 20 plus minutes to investigate, perception, check for traps, disarm traps, smell, history to note what made the door, insight to see if the door seems door enough, etc. Doors are the worst puzzle ever invented by the D&D community.
Yeah. It's true.
Well,
True. Players don't even check if they're locked or not. They assume they're locked and they assume they're a problem.
Yeah. Is there a door handle? Never heard of it. Never.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Dave made a character called Mark, and it's a half-orc fighter that specializes in doors. And also, his niggas, he wants to take every door that he finds, take him with him. So he's always walking around with a tower shield. A homebrew one, but it gives cover enough. He made that weakness into a strength, and I love that part about him.
Yeah.
But then again, in most parties, the caution when it comes to doors is enormous, and I've never, not to my knowledge at least, made a mimic out of a door or something, or made something too horrible to justify this entire investigation, perception, check for traps, disarm, a smell, history check. But then again, it's something that really seeped into the community in one way. The fear for doors is in every new player that I encounter. I'm not sure where that comes from. Bedtime stories for kids.
There are kind of these memes surrounding these kind of things. Like, the experience I had with my first real long-lived party is that the rogue always was one step behind on the next level of ingenious traps that he would meet. And he always fell for it anyway because he was searching for the old kind of traps. And I think that in Roger's campaign, we met a lot of doors, and we couldn't get through a lot of doors as well. And I remember this one door where we spent at least a half an hour in front of it or something and deciding how we wanted to get past it. And eventually we went, the whole party, with like 10 members or maybe 11 or 12 at that point, went past it by going ethereal.
Yeah, that's the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Roger, will you reveal how that door would have opened in a normal way?
But, I mean, there was no solution or anything. It was just a door. You could have destroyed the door. You could have gone ethereal. You were level 16 characters by then, I think. And there was no solution. It just made sense that there was a door there, that there was some kind of obstruction so that not everything walked into that building. Because I think I know which part you're talking about.
So
sometimes there is a door. I mean, I have one right here in my living room. It's
okay, but we can bash through that one.
Personally, I like but
there was no specific solution to that door. There was no key or anything. Yeah, the people inside knew how to open it, but they made the door. For you, it was just an obstruction.
It was a 20-minute long obstruction, which cost us a
but not my bad. I mean, it made sense that there was a door, so there was a door.
Yeah, that's player panic. Let's be honest. Yeah, half of your games are player panic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and that's also the fun part. At least I joke around like the mug with all the player tears, but it's really fun to see a few players just go nuts about something that really isn't any danger. For example, these normal doors that you could just have to handle down, push, and opens. Yeah. It's great to see characters work strategies how to defeat the door.
Yeah,
awesome.
This answer got a lot of responses on Facebook, and one of them was, if you really want to get your party mad, you just make a big room and you put a door in the middle, without a frame, just a door. You know. Yeah. I think it's the same as the chair in Critical Role.
Yeah, exactly. The chair did something.
What's
Just a
with the
chair.
chair?
Then again, if you put one adjective too much in a description, players are off
Exactly.
hook.
Yeah.
You see a shiny rock. I want the rock. It's just a pebble. I want the rock. We need to get the rock.
Yeah.
And it'll be half an hour just how to take that rock with you in your way too small backpack.
I did put Ashley says I did put a door in that had in every language written on it, "Do not open," and a little crack with golden liquid seeping out. The players lick the liquid. Yeah. Oh, so licking is a thing then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Your sense of survival is insufficient to be an adventurer.
Yeah. Michelle says, I remember a power-word kill glyph on the door. I remember a boneyard behind the door. Did I mention that I got bitten by a door in our current live campaign? Yeah, that's the thing, Roger. In your current campaign, doors are very, very scary.
Yeah, well, but I showed them. There was exposition that the door was scary because I ate Susan.
Yeah,
the door ate Susan, and so you guys knew. Okay, don't mess with that door. We'll go through that one, and that one just opened. There was no problem. It didn't bit or anything, even though you poked at it with a stick first. But yeah. But yeah, a door ate Susan. That's true.
That's so cool. Sefriel says, awesome I once had a chamber with a door in front of which there were a couple of small piles of dust. The players freaked out. Well, it were just a couple of piles of dust. They thought Devray or something like that. Yeah. Igor the Vicious says, just a thought. Drunk, half-naked dwarves riding armor-clad battle camels should be canon in all D&D stories. So that's a random thought. Thank you for that. Igor
I do have some minis of dwarves riding bears. So I'm not doing the camel thing, but I will do the bear thing.
Yeah.
You're skipping over the one from Naruhiko, but he also has a point, because we actually had
the adventures is to trigger traps, because why not? Yeah.
Well, we actually had someone that did that. You had this whole corridor filled with traps, and Eric just went straight through them, because why not? He thought he could take it.
Yeah.
He couldn't.
He couldn't. Healing spells at the ready, people. Yeah. Yeah, that was so
But that's
funny.
also a quick way to disarm traps. Just trigger them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Shove your fighter in front of it, and
yeah. Oh, those were so hard, and then he met the Death Knight.
Yep.
Surprise.
He had like 120 hit points, or 130, I don't know. And when he was in front of the Death Guard, he had like 16 left. Something like that. Yeah. No, Susan, why? Says Ashley. If you want to know the Susan references, we now have a portrait of Susan in our slideshow on the Precipice of Dreams. But Susan was the most honorable maiden you could have ever met. And she got eaten by a door in our GaryCon special. So if you know what that looks, how it feels to a party of very sensitive beings, then please go watch our GaryCon special.
Yeah.
It's on
From another point of view, it was an unnamed NPC that was used to display that the door was not okay to go through.
She was always Susan. She was always Susan to us. We had a great party with her.
You gave the name. That's
Yeah.
Did I give the name?
It's like a pet.
Yeah,
You give
not
the
you,
name.
but you guys. I think it was Eric or... Yeah, I think it was Eric.
Yeah,
Erik.
It's just like a pet. When you give it a name, it's yours.
Yeah.
You can't abandon it anymore.
Yeah.
When you go to a animal shelter, whenever you call one bird, you know that's what's coming home with you. It just happens.
Yeah, I like this one. Esner says, Susan had such a history, just no future.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's rich and elaborate. There will be a prequel to the Precipice of Dreams, focusing solely on Susan.
We should do that. It was Eric. He also misnamed the guards. Yeah. In our current timeline, Susan yet lives. That's true. Well, possibly. Maybe. Yeah. We might save her just because of meta thinking. Yeah. Okay. That was actually the last answer to our main topic. So we'll go to the last screen of this episode. Well, there's a 12 there, but there shouldn't be a 12 there, right? Boom.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries.
Ooh, spoilers. I see the question already.
No, that's all part of it. So we finished our main topic, and that means that we have gotten to the end of the show. And so we are introducing the new question that we'll be answering, or you'll be answering for the next Talking Void, and that is, what is your favorite class to play and why? I thought let's keep it simple for once, right? No, it's never. What do you mean? In which game? As a dungeon master, can I include Gestalt? Can I use? Does it have to be third edition? Does it have to be? All these things, and I will give you the same answer every time. The answer is yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
My answer, all of them except Ranger. Well, that's an interesting answer already. It doesn't include the why, but who knows? Finding a reason to go to Brentwick, which is still about the Susan part. So, Rick, how was your evening?
Great. This is a blast. Thank you guys. Even though I really regretted offering this date up when you afterwards told me the subject of this class.
The question, yeah. I don't know those.
Oh yeah, we can find a date. We're talking about puzzles. I was like, oh god, no. But
there's so much to say in the peripheral areas of this topic,
So you guys saved me in this regard. Thank you very much. Also for having me, but also just for getting to spend me 3 hours about puzzles without foaming at the mouth and just running away. So
you can have fun with puzzles.
Puzzles are fun.
Yeah.
Talking about puzzles is fun. So that's the end of the episode. I really like to have you on as our guest. We've now decided that we all be playing in your next campaign.
And likewise.
In Dutch, yeah. And so that's cool. Had a blast. And I hope your book does well. You can soon go into a second print. And when you have your second print, you can go into a third print. And so on.
Well, there is now the idea to make an English version of it. Because I made this approach to D&D for Kids because I hated the Wizards approach for D&D for Kids. It was all combat and nothing else. Not even exploration. We're just, here's a baby beholder, smack it to death. That's 7 or 8 times in. Yeah, exactly. So that has made us pure frustration. And there are some other games that are really good for kids in the role-playing sense, but nothing is quite a stepping stone to D&D as this is. So, let's hope that that we can prove it. We can more people to geek up.
Yeah, would be cool.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of answers being given to the next class for the next thing. Shanks, nice to see you, by the way. Vix is here. Oh, did something end at top-down tabletop? I think that's the case then. Thanks for joining. Keep your answers to post on one of our socials, on our Discord or whatever, and we'll be including it because I will not be saving this chat. That will be a bit too hard. I see that our community challenge for Bow and Sass is at 37k out of 40k, I think.
Yeah, if anyone has any channel points left, just... Well, I didn't donate.
Throw them to our community challenge. The challenge is that Bowen says, and that means that I will do 10 sentences that Bowen will say to you to make you feel better.
I don't know what it means, but it sounds fun.
Yeah. Now we are nearly there. So 39.
39k.
39, can we do it?
We need 1,200 more. But yeah, we're not going to wait on that. You can, every time we're live, you can donate these points. So next time we'll...
it's okay.
Definitely, because I have a lot of points still.
40k.
Yeah, we did it. No,
Great.
we did it.
No, we didn't.
We need... No. We need 48 points.
48 points.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I can't contribute anymore. Fixed Ross.
And there we go.
Woohoo! Okay, so I guess I'll be doing a video about that. Cool. 100%.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So next one will be 80k then, because to make more change. No, we'll see. Yeah, you'll be. You can expect a Bone Says video soonish. We'll of course announce that in one of our shows when it is ready. It will be a short video, but I think it will be a funny one.
Cool.
Also, before we go, Rick, just plug yourself. Where can we find you? Do you have any socials? Where can we buy your book? Stuff like that.
I have a link tree. So I'll just put in the link tree there. It's link.ee/Fantasy. You'll find everything we need there. It's a Patreon that you can support me on just to make more D in Dutch, but also more podcasts and live plays. We have every Tuesday we have the Wonders that you can watch our Dutch show. On Thursdays we play minis and answer questions, Dutch or English. I don't really mind. So we're on YouTube and Twitch. So come visit. And for the rest, yeah, I'd rather to meet all of you whenever it's possible at conventions again, just to have finally some real dice rolling on the table instead of the dice roll chambers.
Yeah, it's been.
I'm just looking forward to that. But in the link tree, you can find everything that you guys want from me. Everyone wants to ask questions about D&D for kids. I do have some webinars and trainings that I give out to help you guys, even in English, to do D&D with kids or other games, for example. By the way, so whoever wants to hit me up, I'll gladly help you and set you up.
Cool.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we'll
so much
put
for
the link below the video on YouTube. So for a YouTube audience, you can find it over there.
Yeah. Oh, he's taking over the show now. That's okay, Roger.
Yeah, but but in case you forget, right? I mean, you start the show with talking a lot.
No, you can finish it for me. It's okay. I like
And
it.
balance.
Okay. We're gonna be back next Monday with the Precipice of Dreams. And then we will continue the War of Tears, as it's been called already. The day after that, you can enjoy Jasper's laboratory again, where he will do stuff which I don't know about, but he will.
Parties.
It'll be fun. Parties.
Party versus party. Yeah.
Party for PvP. Yeah, party versus party. And the Monday after that, Michelle's going to continue playing Portal in all likelihood. Nice puzzle game. And the day afterwards, we'll be here back again with Talking Void.
I think Michelle will be my guest, right?
Yeah. Michelle's always follows me. So,
and then we'll have 2 Precipice of Dreams episodes to discuss. So that's always fun.
You never talked about the Precipice with me. That's it's been like 18 weeks ago or something. But doesn't matter. We'll talk over a nice cup of coffee another time.
Yes, we'll do that.
That's what we do. We talk about D&D and stuff.
Yeah. Got a lot of compliments for the episode, so thank you, everybody. And
thanks for watching.
And
we hope to see you all soon. Yeah. Stay well.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Oh,
bye.
I forgot to set the outro. Goodbye.
Professionalism.